Hello dears, and welcome to the Picture of Dorian Gray. My name is Oscar Wilde and I love the 21st century. Queer rights, body cult, hedonism, for that I would even put up with democracy and private television. You know, I was ahead of my time. My little book is about art, beauty and the soul, and as superficial as that may seem, beware. Those who go beneath the surface do so at their peril. Yes, well, thanks Mr. Wilde, today's main characters are Dorian Gray, the beauty king of his time. The painter Basil Hallward, who adores him for professional reasons. Then there's Lord Henry Wotton, called Harry, who knows the painter Basil from Oxford. The actress Sybil Vane, who's very beautiful but rather modest, despite her name, as well as her brother James Vane, and many other aristocrats and real people. Wilde publishes his novel in 1890, and although it was to become a huge success later on, it was also the doom of its author because it was cited as proof of Wilde's homosexuality in a court trial that led to his imprisonment, and off we go. That's your masterpiece, Basil. You've got to exhibit this. I'll never exhibit it. There's too much of myself in it, and Dorian, So Dorian's his name. Don't take him away from me, Harry. He's mine, okay? And Dorian comes. Nice to meet you. I'm Henry Wotton. And while Dorian is sitting for Basil, Harry starts to pour his poison into his ear. Carpe diem. Follow your every impulse. Don't even think of self-denial. Stop! Exactly, stop, I'm done. And they look at the portrait together and Harry goes, wow, I absolutely want to buy this. No, that's Dorian's. And he goes, this is so sad. The portrait is going to stay young. I'm going to get old and ugly. It should be the other way around. I'd give anything for that. And off he hops with Lord Henry to the theatre and doesn't visit Basil very often anymore. Harry finds out that Dorian's stinking rich and his family rather dead. He turns him against the philanthropic missions of his Aunt Agatha and makes him dive into amusement. A month later, Dorian is waiting for his new friend in Harry's library when his wife enters. Hello, you must be Dorian Gray. I've seen you in the opera with my husband yesterday. Ach, Wagner. And she quacks on when Henry comes. Hello, darling. We had such a nice little talk about music. I've got to dash. And she leaves. Obviously, they try to spend as little time as possible together, and Henry comments, never marry, Dorian. Men do it because they're tired, women because they're curious. Both are disappointed. You're so mean. I've only started a romance. I've got to know a fantastic actress. Unknown yet, but so beautiful. I'm in love. I want you and Basil to come and see her play tomorrow. And that same evening, Dorian writes to him that he's engaged to be married to the actress. We make the acquaintance of the actress in her domestic sphere. She's bidding farewell to her brother. Okay, sister, I'm going to Australia, but before, you tell me who this guy is you're dating. Oh, that's just Prince Charming. I'm only 16, but I'm gonna kill him if he does anything to you. And with that, he leaves her to play Juliet in the evening. Before the show, Harry tells Basil, you know, Dorian's engaged to be married. Goodness me, I hope she'll be fantastic, that'd be great. So she enters as Juliet, and although she'd been a divine performer on the previous nights, she now does something like this. Wilt thou be gone? It is not yet near day. It was the nightingale and not the lark. Okay, I've seen enough, Dorian. She's really sweet, but a bloody bad actress. I'm leaving. You coming? No, you go ahead. So his friends leave him, and after the performance he meets her. And she goes, Dorian, I played so shitty today because I love you so much. Excuse me, are you sick? No, it's just I never knew love, so theatre was like real life to me, but now I have you. You've killed my love. You were an actress, now you're nothing. Bye-bye. What? No! Yes. And he leaves her. When he then looks at his portrait at home, he finds it has changed. What? Do I have this mean facial expression in real life? He looks into the mirror. No, that's not possible. I'm making this up. And he covers it. On the next morning, well, that was a shock about the picture changing. I now write to Sybil and ask her forgiveness and then marry her. Ding dong, Henry enters. I'm so sorry. Excuse me? Sybil's dead. What? Oh my God! There was an accident with prussic acid in her dressing room. No, she killed herself. I killed her. I'm so heartless. Well, dear, life goes on, and she was really a bad actress, but this deed showed definitely grandeur. Are we going to the opera tonight? And they go to the opera. On the next day, Basil visits him and goes, I only heard it. I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay, could we talk about something else? But, okay, would you sit for me? You're my muse. No, never again. But I'd like to exhibit your fantastic portrait. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Why? And why can't I exhibit it? Well, why didn't you want to exhibit it first? Because I put so much of myself in it and because I adored you so much. Aha, adoration. Bye. Bye. And he leaves. Thus the immediate danger of discovery is neutralized, but for the future, Dorian now has the portrait transported into his old unused schoolroom at the top of his house. There, the picture is now safely kept and only he has the key to the room. This very evening, Harry sends him a small yellow French book, a dangerous book that really incites his lust for pleasure, and now Dorian lives out every one of his instincts without getting a day elder, while the portrait does that for him. This goes on for years. Very elegantly, Wilde doesn't give us any details of Dorian's debaucheries, but describes how he becomes the uncrowned king of good taste, lifestyle and party life, who is admired but also more and more shunned, especially by his ex-girlfriends and male friends who seem to hate him all. 18 years later, he meets Basil in front of his house when he's coming home and he wants to pass by, but the painter goes, "Dorian, can I come in for a minute?" "If you must." "I'd been waiting for you. I'm off to Paris to the train in a minute because I'll be gone for a couple of months, but I need to tell you something before. I have heard incredible things about you, which simply can't be true. I mean, you're so good looking. You got to be good on the inside too, right?" "Uh-huh. 'Cause you're not the mean pig your ex-girlfriends talk about, right? You're good, aren't you?" "Leave me alone. The dead wife of a friend of mine has accused you of terrible things, but I said that can't be true. I mean, I can't look into your soul, of course." "Yes, you can." "What?" "You can look into my soul. Come along." And he's really pissed now, Dorian, and leads him into the room where he keeps the picture and shows his inner life, his soul to him. And Basil goes, "What is this? It's the picture I've painted, but it's totally wrong." "This is my true self." "This can't be true. Come on, Dorian. It's never too late. Repent. Let us pray." And he kneels down, but Dorian goes, "Yes, it's too late." And he stabs him in the back. Stab! Arr! Then he quickly leaves the house, for nobody has seen them enter. He rings the bell and wakes his servant. "I'm so sorry to trouble you so late. I've forgotten my key. Has anybody called?" "The painter Basil Hallward, but he had to leave for his Paris train." "Right." And on the next morning, he sends to an old friend of his, who is not a friend anymore, by saying it's a matter of life and death, and goes, "Alan, you are into chemistry, aren't you? I've got a corpse sitting upstairs. Help me get rid of it." "Are you mad? I'm not doing anything of the kind. Bye." "Just a moment." And he scribbles a few words on a piece of paper, and Ellen reads them and goes pale. "I've written a letter containing this information. It will be posted if you don't help me." Okay." He's being blackmailed. "I'll do it." So he has his equipment brought, and after a while he comes back and says, "I have done the deed." "Thank you so much." "Fuck you," and he leaves. In the evening, during a dinner invitation, Dorian is understandably quite besides himself. So later on, in order to distract himself, he visits an opium den in the suburbs. To his annoyance, there's one of the friends he has led to lead a junkie's life, as well as a prostitute who seems to know him. "Hello, Prince Charming." "Here's money. You want money?" But this address, Prince Charming, has aroused the attention of a sailor who's following Dorian outside and goes, "Hands up! Whoa! What do you want?" "You made my sister commit suicide. I'll kill you. I didn't know you, but she used to call you Prince Charming too." "That wasn't me. How long ago was that?" 18 years. "Take a look at me. How old am I?" And he goes, "What? Goodness me, you're 20. Sorry, I nearly killed you there." "That's all right." And he dashes off, and the hooker comes and says, "Why didn't you kill him? He's been looking like that for years on end." Bugger it. In the following week, Dorian has guests in his house in the country. He's just flirting with Henry's cousin, who is present. Hee ha ha, when suddenly, ha! He's looked out of the window, collapses, and Harry goes, "Everything all right?" "Yeah, all cool." He's seen the sailor, James Vane again, but persuades himself that it was only his imagination. On the next morning, there's a hunt going on, and Dorian watches. "Oh, let that hare run, will you? You mad bang! Ouch! Oh no, that was a beater in the bush. What the hell did he do there?" And because he doesn't feel all too well, Dorian wants to leave now when his gamekeeper enters and goes, "Sorry, sir, that wasn't one of our men who got shot." "So who was it?" And he hurries to look at the corpse, and it turns out to be James Vane. "Ha! Incredible! I'm saved! I'm such a lucky boy." And he hurries back to London, where he meets his friend Harry soon afterwards and tells him, "You know what? I'm reformed." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, I did not seduce a peasant girl for the first time today." "Congrats. Why don't you stay exactly as you are?" "Stop this! I'm going to be good from now on." Then he goes home and looks at the now very ugly portrait, which to him has become the epitome of all that has gone wrong in his life. And he got the idea to kill it, just as he killed the painter. So he takes the knife he used at the time and stabs at it. His servants just hear a piercing cry. "Ah!" When they enter the room, they only find the very beautiful portrait of Dorian and the body of an old and worn-out man in his clothes. Only on the third glance, this turns out to be Dorian himself. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, this brief summary can't really do justice to the linguistic elegance and the esprit of my novel, but maybe you could spot what it is about. It is exceedingly attractive to treat life itself as an art, but like every other weapon, beauty must not get into the wrong hands, and every vice must be paid for. And this, dear congregation, was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Vielen Dank.